Welcome back, everyone, to the LCS Challengers League. What a back and forth for our game number one. I personally enjoyed it quite a bit. How about you, Kill? How are you feeling after that?
Yeah, it was a really good game. Bit of a crazy ending with all the steals, and it ended up not even mattering, and EG still came out on top, yeah.
Yeah, I know that you called out as a jungler, it felt a little bit rough because UG steals the Baron, secures the Hextech Dragon, and unfortunately, it's just not enough. Do you have anything about that game that you felt were like really big moments that you kind of want to relive for the people in Twitch chat?
I think just the team fighting from EG was really consistent in like the mid game. Ryoma kind of seemed like he kept outplaying everyone, honestly, with the jumps, and also a really nice game from the bot lane of EG, which I think was a big reason why they were able to comfortably win in the late game.
Yeah.
What did you think about the junglers for that one? Because I felt like that game was heavily fought around a lot of our jungler engages and trying to pick off our marksmen.
Both junglers were trolling a little bit, I think. Like, just like it's like a part of the meta too, like the low econ, just engage champs, and both junglers were just feeling the pain, just like no items, just engaging for their team. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I do want to talk a little bit about your history as a player, Keela, because you've been playing in this, the amateur, the semi-pro, the academy/challenger ecosystem for a while, and you've actually had a couple more splits than I think a lot of people might realize based on the fact that you're playing on Wildcard right now. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey through, the CLG system and now coming into Wildcard?
Yeah, I started on CLG as a sub for my current coach, who's Griffin, formerly Wiggly.
Oh, Griffin?
Yeah. And just started as a sub. It was like my first opportunity to do anything, and I think I improved really fast, so I ended up being able to be like full-time on CLG, and it was just like a really rough year. I was just a rookie. It was just not a great team, not a great year. But okay, I still thought I did like pretty good individually, and then couldn't get a team for the next split. After that, I was like just really high rated in Challenger, and then I was subbing for 100 Thieves Academy during their PG run. But I didn't have to play, so I just ended up kind of like coaching and like helping out. And then from there, I went to AoE Jitter Turmeric, where we were like the #1 team by the end. Pretty confident we could have won. Like, it's really sad we weren't able to do a little better, but still did like pretty good. And then that leads me to here with two of the same teammates, and then Lens and Sligo now, and doing good again. So I'm pretty happy with where it's taken me.
You've been one of the more fun careers for me to follow, honestly, because when I gave that intro, I did start following you in 2021 back in CLG Academy. Even though that was a rough season, you guys had some of the most banger like series games, some of the wildest comeback games, and that energy just keeps following you everywhere you go. You've done it with Ginger Turmeric, that top 6 finish. I want to ask, how's all this growth been for you? How's it like going through the entire Proving Ground system now, being revamped into the NACL and taking this next step with the provisional roster?
Yeah, I've been really glad that NACL exists and that it kind of includes the amateur teams, because it gives me like a real chance to show my skill without having to, like, even with Proving Grounds it was really good, but you still had to wait like a couple months just to get the opportunity. And you wouldn't get to scrim any of the academy teams really until then, because of ping and whatever else. So yeah, I think the NACL has like been very good for me, and I'm glad we get to see like Wildcard and Fear doing really well in it. And yeah, just to have like an even playing field and no excuses or anything for performance.
Yeah. For what it's worth, with this questions with Keel segment that we're doing, for anybody in Twitch chat, if you have questions for Keel, we will be reading that and we will be curating them. But one of the things that I know Twitch chat has always been interested in is Keel, what's your favorite kind of McChicken?
I like the hot and spicy McChicken. It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not available everywhere, but here they got them, so it's looking good.
Oh, it's good to know. I haven't necessarily gone and gotten like the spicy McChickens before.
I recommend. Yeah.
You recommend? Do you know if they're in LA?
Oh, I definitely had them when I was on CLG. Huh? Some depression McChickens.
Yeah, there's a funny story to that. Me and Josh can very much relate. We used to cast for some older orgs, and they used to pay us in chicken sandwiches, quite literally. So we know burgers. That we've come from there.
Yeah, it was a good time. But the other thing we kind of want to look at is recently your journey with Wildcard has been one that has been pretty astounding, right? A lot of people, I think, had you guys kind of in the middle of the pack, but after your 2-0 of Cloud9 Challengers, who's going to be playing later today, and trading games with CLG Challengers shortly after that, a lot of people like really use it as like, oh my gosh, these guys weren't just beating up on some of the weaker teams. They are ready to go. They are this powerful roster to play. And how do you feel that journey has kind of gone for you?
I mean, realistically, I just wish we could play like some LCS teams too. Like, I think that'd be cool if somehow there was like LCS versus Academy matches. Cause yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in our ability to beat any of the Challengers teams. Not to say they're like bad or anything. I just think it's all like similar skill level, and I think it's just a really good environment.
Yeah.
All right. I want to throw the first Twitch chat question out. We got one from APA, who's in Twitch chat currently. Says, who's the better Nunu, Heal, or APA?
And we're going to throw one more in there. We're going to throw Beatdown Boulevard, the Nunu specialist coming in from the caster team. Which would the three?
Oh, he's one of the Nunus too?
Yeah, he's a Nunu specialist. He plays 2 characters. It's Nunu and Akali.
It's got to be my Nunu, yeah. Back when I was first hit challenger, it was like my main highest win rate champ, so I got to go with myself, yeah.
All right. And could you rank the other 2 for us?
APA last, and then Beatdown right behind me.
There you go. There you go, B. You got an opportunity. Now, we also have Whooply coming in with a big question. Who is Keel's NACL arch nemesis?
Arch nemesis? There's no one I really hate like that. I don't know. I don't think that's an answerable question. Sorry.
Yeah, do you have a rivalry at least with anyone?
Rivalry, yeah.
Rivalry. Just CLG. I'm just glad we got to verse them both last week. Went 3-1. My only loss to CLG was the Warwick top incident. So yeah, I'm just glad I did good against my former org.
There you go. Now, I don't remember. Did you play alongside Jenkins back at the time?
No, he was on TL.
Okay, yeah. Man, so many different rosters shifting around, but it's always interesting, like watching. Could you walk us through the communications that you guys had when Jenkins started coming into your jungle?
Oh well, the first thing I thought was like I was like begging Moose to leash just in case he ran at me. I'm like, okay, we can just like 1v2 him, it's fine. And then I quickly realized we just couldn't. And then I'm 1 HP, and then I forgot he had barrier, and yeah, there was not much else to say. I was just like smiling. It was just funny, yeah.
All right, I know you got a lot of fun picks. Someone in Twitch chat is asking, what is your favorite jungler? Out of all the wild stuff you play, the Fiddlesticks, Karthus, Udyr, who's at the top?
Udyr is probably my favorite champ. Just like of all time, like old Udyr. It was just my first ever main. And then other than that, I mean, I just like playing carries usually. Maybe Kha'Zix is up there too.
All right, we got one other one. Malv9 asks, who is the best underrated 80 carry in the Salt League?
Lens. Easy Lens.
Oh.
Yeah, he was hard slept on, and he is outperforming everyone's expectations and playing everything in the game.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lens is pleasantly surprising me.
The way that Lens has been playing so far during this split has honestly been like pretty impressive overall. Just like the way that he's adapted to playing in North America with a new team. And I'm curious, right? Because you said you were playing with the previous core, but you brought on 2 new players. How has it been like integrating these guys into the roster?
I think for Lens, there's a bit of adjusting with Duo King and what he wants to play. I think it's not a surprise that people who main with Duo King look really good too. I think he's just a top support. For Soligo, it was pretty seamless. I think he just fit in like very easily. But then yeah, part of it with Lens was just like not playing what's meta and like finding pairings that he's happy to play with Duo King's champ pool. But once we figured that out, it's been like smooth sailing with the new additions.
Yeah. Now we also have to note that Soligo is by far the most experienced player, having played in the LCS a fair amount, has been playing for years and years, and we oftentimes credit some of the veterancy, some of the experience that this guy has as kind of helping out the team a lot. How true is that for you guys?
It's pretty true. He's definitely our like most stable lane, most willing to play like diversity of champs. Like I think myself and him are able to like slot in however we need to, and then make like cohesive team comp out of it. So yeah, it's been like really good working with Sligo. Never really have gotten to play with a mid like full time who has like the ability to like be stable and like know what he wants to do in a game. So yeah, it's been a good experience.
You know, those are fun questions, Josh, but I want to get to the real questions now. You said you play bass. Talk to me about that. I want to know. I want to know, man.
Started playing bass in like, I don't know, like 6th grade, 7th grade, and then once I got Challenger in League, I kind of stopped, but before then I was going hard with it. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Oh.
What was your band's name?
Oh, no band, no. It was
no
just
band?
like a school band and just playing myself, yeah.
There you go.
Wild Card, that's the name of the band.
Wild. I remember back in the day, because I played set as like a middle schooler for a little while, and we were always doing the jazz band. I remember, I don't know if you would remember or had this experience, but every single day waking up at 6 in the morning as a middle schooler in order to go to like the jazz band practices were some of the most miserable things I think I ever had to do, but we'd always do it in order to play at the concerts towards the end. Were you doing that kind of thing?
I did jazz
as well?
band, yeah. It was like after school though, not before.
Oh,
so it was different. Yeah.
Little jealous, not gonna lie. Now, do you remember any of the songs that you used to play as things that you could like potentially still bust out for us for maybe some content?
Oh god, I don't even have my bass with me. No, I had to fly across the country. Yeah, that didn't make the list.
Hey, I got my base over here. It's a 4-hour drive to get to Vegas. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, one day. Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I think we are now ready for our draft. Keel, before we part ways with you, anything you would like to see different for FlyQuest?
I like their draft, honestly, for the most part. I think maybe try and get a bot lane that can punish, like maybe no handshake of the Lucian versus Zeri trade. But if they want to, I think it's okay as well. Just got to clean up the mid-game team fighting and they'll be good.
All right, you heard that. Bot lane is stale. We need new champions. Thank you for the input, Keel, and thank you for joining us for the halftime segment. But draft is now ready, so we will bid you adieu as we head into Game 2.
Just a quick, a little bit of a rhyme setting up for Valentine's Day. Just a quick reminder, throw out your hot takes on Twitter using the hashtag NACL and put them in Twitch chat. We're going to be going over them and rating them after, not after this game, but later on in the day. So the more fun things you have to say, the better the content is going to be. But as we get into Game 2, Evil Geniuses have already picked up their first game. Now, I was expecting a 1-1. I was pretty strong on that rather than your really weak 1-1, Eric. Like, maybe they'll pick up a game. So now we'll see if Fly Challengers can bounce back. It was a pretty big difference in team fighting, again, coming out from Evil Geniuses Challengers versus FlyQuest. And so I kind of agree with what Keel was saying. I would love to see Masu and Kitang on something that can be a little bit more aggressive that isn't going to get matched by the power of Zeri Lulu in lane.
So if we forego the handshake, then what is there next to grab? We've already have some marksman bans, 3 of them on both the Varus, Caitlyn, and Ashe. What is there to pivot away from, Josh?
I mean, one of the big questions that you always have to ask is, are you going to just run the same draft back? Because I don't think the Fly Challengers draft was a huge issue. I was not thrilled with the Victor into the Tristana, but it's definitely a position where I feel like you can pivot relatively early on, just because of the fact that there are plenty of things that you can actually pick up. You still have access to things like the Jhin, but with the Lulu getting snap locked up for Evil Geniuses, it does kind of say, like, yeah, we are very happy to make the same kind of bottom lane trade.
Interesting that they changed the order, though. Wukong, I believe, was the first pick last time.
Was.
And then they followed it up with the Zeri Lulu right after. So I'm curious what the change of order is really for. Lulu gets locked in. It is going to allow FlyQuest to grab that Wukong that is open.
Yeah, that was the big surprise for me, right? Because I was not really expecting this Lulu Zeri to be going over to the other side, especially because Masu and Kitang opted into early picking both the Lucian and the Nami for themselves. It's clearly the side of the matchup they prefer to play, whereas Evil Geniuses, they have all the freedom to kind of pick what they actually want here on the blue side, and giving Yuji one of his most comfortable champions that he was playing on in 2022, it's a little bit of a surprise for me. I wonder if Shaden has something specifically planned for it.
Yeah, still staying with that same setup they had with Zeri Lulu. Now, this is something Shaden has been falling back on quite a bit. The Poppy. If it does get picked up, it was played a lot to enable Ryoma in week number 3, but it's not going to be the Poppy play. It is going to be a little bit of farming, a little bit of carrying. Shaden will be on Graves.
I mean, this was a little bit of the classic coming out from Shaden, right? Doesn't necessarily have the most meta champion pool. Has been playing a lot of Viego, Graves, Kindred so far in 2023. And not as many of like the engaging tanks like we saw in the last game. This is definitely a big pivot from Evil Geniuses, but it does mean that either Soul or Ryoma need to be put on something that can actually get fights started. It's okay to have no engage if you are ahead, because you force the opponent to engage on you. But when you're behind, you really need it in order to actually make some of these fights happen in the first place to recover the deficit that you had.
Can we bring Kill back? Like, we got the handshake on the bottom lane. I feel like he needs to give a stern talking to both of these teams right now. We wanted something different, damn it.
We wanted something different. Not going to get it this time around, though. I am just very interested in this Graves that is going to be coming through from Shaden, right? Because it is something that they have had a lot of history playing. They do love to play both the heavy farming angle, and we also got to see, right, during the Dude Lambo bit, we got to see that he had a big gun and was able to take a huge 1v3 triple kill pretty much all by himself. And so we'll get to see how well FlyQuest are able to create pressure in the game in order to put Evil Geniuses behind enough.
It's crazy. When Shaden's put into a position to carry, he can really take over an entire game. You were talking about that Graves game. That was a 15.0 KDA that he pulled off in that game. That was something else, to say the least. Against FlyFam as well, so taking out the sister team of FlyQuest Challengers. Second phase of the draft, we're waiting for the solo lanes now. Both Gnar, Azir, Syndra, and Renekton all taking off the Rift.
So, I'm kind of expecting Philip to go for something that has a little bit more engaged. The Cassante was the answer last time, and it went into Soul's Gwen. But instead, definitely a big pivot coming through. Instead, Spyrox going to be grabbing the Rise, something that they were known for a little bit alongside the Akali in 2022. And going up against Ryoma, I mean, opting into a mage versus mage matchup feels like a bit of a challenge once again, right? Yeah. Ryoma is definitely somebody that will just kind of play to kill you in lane.
So they'll save the counter pick for Philip and try and get Spyrax to try and match out with Ryoma, but what is going to be the match for Ryoma?
Ooh.
Oh, it's Orianna, so hovering over for that team fight, get some control mage coming out, locked in for EGC.
Really need a tank now, really need something to frontline in order for the Orianna Shockwave to have easier access to moving around the map and also to actually get some engage going, right? The Evil Geniuses Challengers, while they will do well in the late game, they don't have any way to actually start fights, and so it allows FlyQuest to kind of play around the sides, and this is what I often terms call secondary engage, right? This is a character that is really good if somebody else has already started the fight, as is Orianna, and so now it puts a lot of pressure on the solo lanes from Soul and Ryoma to look for these kinds of plays on the sides of the map, to look for these kinds of flanks and getting there first so that your opponent has to walk over the potential Shockwave.
It feels like this is much easier to actuate for FlyQuest because they have so many different engage tools, both UG, the Cyclone Tidal Wave coming out for Kitong. So many different things that can work out and space these fights and get Masu going. It's going to be a challenge for Evil Geniuses Challengers, but one thing that does work into their favor, I mean, it's still short-range composition, so there is a lot of life and a lot of threat that Shockwave Ryoma can do. What are you giggling at, Josh?
I don't normally have Twitch chat open while I'm casting, but I do right now, and somebody said Joshi equals daddy, so, you know, like... Thanks to Shoes0210. Anyway, as we start getting into this game, I just was not expecting it. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that's there. The other thing that I want to point out is the 131 coming out from FlyQuest Challengers is really exciting.
8 out of 10 in daddy meter, you know.
8 out of 10?
Go on.
Wow, that's a lot higher than I was kind of expecting. But
it was the goatee.
Once you
got
that will
that
definitely
going,
help.
it really added to it.
All right, I was
points.
always told that I looked like a dad, even like in high school, so, you know, it is what it is. FlyQuest, they have Philip, who is one of the better split pushers in the league, if they can find themselves a lead in the first place. As long as you actually play towards the top side, we've seen what Philip can do against teams like Cloud9 and Fake God. UG with Philip can absolutely put some of the strongest top laners behind, and now this is going to be their challenge, because if they do that, they unlock an entire another win condition for themselves.
How do you feel about this matchup in terms of the way these teams want to
Before we
play?
go too far, Twitch chat is also declared.
Chat?
Yeah, Destrex equals mommy, so... Thank you for that. I'm going to close this so I'm not too distracted, but I appreciate all of that coming out from you guys. What was your question, Eric?
Go next.
Go next.
Look, there's a couple seconds on the timer. I don't want to talk about this anymore. This is how we do our reunion since the 2019 Team Liquid days. We come back and call us daddy, mommy.
It is what it is. We're getting onto the rift a little bit.
I'm done here.
We're done. So, setting up, once again, Evil Geniuses, they really need to be on location first. And they're going to have a couple...
The Summoner's Rift.
B, we're supposed to be on the same team, bro. What's going on? I've only attacked Kangas in your name. I've never attacked anyone else. Beatdown, we gotta talk.
We'll talk about it later on. This has definitely been a bit of an unhinged start to this, but UG, Getting pushed out of his own jungle a little bit. So again, Evil Geniuses will be very reliant on getting to places first and using Soul's teleport. Yes. Using Soul's teleport to actually go for some of these big flanking engagers. Whereas Yuji, I always like to say, just send it straight up the pipe. You just go directly for them, and as long as you are able to have that flash available between the clone, the dash, and the flash, you can find your way into the backline relatively easily. And so it'll be a question of how well FlyQuest can follow up those engages.
Genghis is bald too. Why is he not getting called old?
Because he's not on the cast currently.
Can we do a bet? Can you, like, shave your head? My
head?
Put
No.
it on the line?
No. All right, actual story though. The reason why I'm never going to do that is when I was born, they had to use a plunger to take me out, and it's actually, like, misshapen my skull a little bit. So I'm never going to intentionally go bald.
Were you born in a toilet?
Yes. Thanks, Mom. Anyway.
I feel like this is a more personal issue that we need to talk about on a different stream. You can save that for raising an A. But let's get back to the game, Josh.
Yeah. So far, we are seeing that the junglers are going to be starting on opposite sides. And look at where Shaden's going. He's doing his red buff and instantly going for an invade. They knew that Yuji was going to be starting up on the top side of the map. And so if he can start taking these away, and Yuji doesn't know, that's going to be a big opportunity for Shaden to create this vertical jungle, and Yuji will be forced to start looking for plays in about a minute and a half.
I'm trying to keep up with everything, Josh. I'm sorry. You did derail me pretty hard for the start of this.
It's Twitch chat's fault.
Well, eventually bottom lane will get me back on the rails, because I do think Shaden is looking to lay prey, and to some extent, got a lot of push coming out from Evil Geniuses Challengers bottom lane. Yuji's going to be finding out about his blue buff pretty soon.
Yep. Oh. A little bit of a...
Or maybe a little bit longer.
Oh, no, he finds it right now. Now he's looking for a gank on the bottom side.
Oh.
What?
Oh, Tommy! Woo, the style points. Gets the command attack dissonance. Doesn't even need the command attack. Underneath the tower, Yuji can't take him down. No one can stop Ryoma.
We were saying he's going for these solo kills in lane. Now Shaden finds Yuji.
All right, here comes Shaden. Flashes forward. Got the red buff. It's going to be a 1-on-1, 1-on-2. Spyrax will show up to be the great equalizer, but it's too late. Yuji's dead.
Oh my gosh, so much blood back and forth. Masu.
We're not done. We're not done. Masu's taking a beating. There's a lot of punishment going on. It's just a bloodbath. We're off to the races, Josh.
All right, so first off, we got to praise Mobility and Smoothie actually getting this wave underneath so that Masu and Keaton can't do anything there. But Spyrax, despite the fact that he got first blooded, now has double buffs based on everything that has happened afterwards. And I love this awareness from Ryoma, right? Throws out the ball and wants to make sure that he can get on top of them, and with the flash to make sure that you actually get the W and catch them even if Spyrax were to flash. Suddenly, that's a solo kill. But this is the big play, right? As Shaden comes through looking for Yuji. He gets the damage down, especially with the red buff active. But because he goes so far forward and Spyrax has the teleport, now Spyrax has a kill, so equalize there, and has double buffs. And so Ryoma might be struggling as Shaden looks for Yuji again.
Oh, Shaden chasing down the Monkey King will get emoted on the way out. Shaden will not be able to pick up that kill. With that, I mean, Shaden felt kind of a little bit of the worries about playing this Graves. You know, you have to reload after every 2 shots, and you just see Yuji standing there for oh so long with a slither of health. Yeah. Shaden's just like, please, get this in already.
Please die. Yeah, it's Valentine's Day on Tuesday. Eric, you can wait a couple of days. But right now, Shaden, like, the fact that they got the early kill has accelerated a little bit. I've never actually
How's it feel, Josh? How's it feel?
I've never been called that before.
Video game.
Video game. Wow. All right, let's take a deep breath real quick, Eric, so we can get at least a little bit back on topic. You ready? Breathe in. Hold it. All right. Back into the game. We're talking about that. We're not going to let Twitch chat take control of us. And now Mobility, they're going very aggressive. Just kidding.
And, trying to take control of this game. Mobility getting engaged on, but Shaden is waiting in the brush. Masu has flash, will be able to burn it to get away. Same thing with Keatong. 2 flashes burnt from the gank of Shaden. Shaden wants a little bit more, though. End of the line, won't finish off Keatong.
Here's Yuji, we're not done.
Yuji's in the bottom lane, and Mobility is looking like a snack. No, Yuji, not go for it. Mobility will be safe.
Wow, so much skirmishing so far early on in this game. This is something I love watching about both Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest, is how aggressively they are looking to skirmish. And now Ryoma linking up with Shade and has level 6. They're going to try and play for this Grom, but Spyrax also looking to counteract that.
Ooh, UG.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Spyrax, what are you doing? 2-on-1. Got to make it quick. Shockwave goes off. More damage on the Spyrax. Critically low. One more auto could do it, but Spyrax will not be able to show up for the Dragon. Conceded over. FlyQuest losing out on their mid lane. Quite a risky move from Spyrax.
Yeah, the phase rush able to get him out, just the zooming around the fight. I mean, FlyQuest and Evil Geniuses both looking to really push each other. I'm actually surprised Philip didn't commit for an all-in right there after the turret shot landed. But Evil Geniuses will walk away with this with the extra Dragon in tow. So that extra movement speed, it doesn't feel like a whole lot just with one, but it will really help Soul in the side lane later on trying to deal with Philip.
Now 6 minutes in, it's a strong start coming out for Evil Geniuses right now. They were able to get that kill, solo kill coming out from Ryoma. Invade goes right over on the side for Shaden. And now, early game, you gotta like it. You gotta like it for EGC. Getting Shaden back on the map, everyone getting their resets back through. FlyQuest will be looking for their response sometime soon.
Yeah. One of the things that has been true about Orianna for a while is the fact that this champion, with the reversion of Seraph's Embrace to give you a shield, once again, has so much self-damage mitigation, right? You can use that shield basically once every wave during the lane, or like during the side lane later on, so you can just go for a lot of very aggressive trades. And one of the reasons why this character has been so commonly picked into Ryze historically is the fact that you can play with range so much better than the Ryze can. Yeah. You can prevent Spyrax from walking up, and there's a lot of low-range characters coming out from the FlyQuest side.
Every time Spyrax steps up to that wave, constantly at threat for the command attacks, Ryoma holding a lot of strong control there. And we saw how Evil Geniuses kind of play with this control last time in game number 1. It was Shaden pivoting around this mid lane to find plays against UG. So far, it's kind of similar to that extent. Now gonna utilize a lot of that control to potentially set up for a Rift Herald. A lot of vision in that area for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, I mean, lots of movement towards the top side, right? Masu and Kitang moving up right at the 8-minute mark. The fact that they went down towards the bottom lane, again, largely says to me that they are going to be conceding this over to Evil Geniuses. Spyrax moving in right now. Doesn't look like they're done, but Philip is pushed in. This is a really dangerous contest from FlyQuest. They leave.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Should walk away.
Yeah.
Definitely. Shaden will grab this Rift Herald, going over. More early neutral objectives into the hands of Evil Geniuses Challengers, and Shaden's Graves slowly making its way upward, but it's getting going. Will be a little bit more time before we actually see that big damage that, you know, we know Shaden for when he's on these carry champions.
Yeah. I also love the little white flag coming out from Ryoma. It's been interesting, like, watching what players have emote games and which don't, and Ryoma is definitely one of the more aggressive players in that regard in terms of spamming your opponent.
Do you have emo game?
No, I have all of my emotes unbound.
I'm definitely pretty bad at the emote game. One I was impressed with was APA. You ever watch any of the clips that Team Liquid Challengers post? Because they'll do a lot of their own perspectives.
Yeah.
APA, he loves spamming the emotes, man.
Oh, he does. Yeah. Ian's in chat. We know this is true, but I also want to give praise to the bottom lane of Ability and Smoothie, as Smoothie roaming up. The Shockwave lands.
Nice Shockwave. Spyrax has Flash over the wall. Flash still burnt nonetheless.
He does manage to get out, but hey, good awareness from Ryoma. But what I was saying is I wanted to give props over to Mobility and Smoothie, because, you know, this lane, the first couple of levels can be really crucial. And Mobility and Smoothie had put enough damage down and were able to farm well enough that they are kind of getting to a spot where they are much more okay. And Yuji just trying to make a play, but can't do it onto Shaden.
Control the river goes over to FlyQuest as Yuji, not too far off from his jungling counterpart. I hover over towards this mid lane instead. Kind of was expecting for this early game to be a little bit more on the slow side the moment I saw the Orianna, but yeah, it's Tommy, it's Ryoma, and Ryoma does not go slow, that's for sure.
Oh, that's for sure. I also want to take a bit of a moment to kind of compare and contrast the histories of Yuji and Shaden, right? Because Shaden was a player who was not allowed to play competitive for a year, and is now coming in and was traded with Cloud9, right, as one of these big things, because Kelsey Moser, one of the Evil Genius's head of coaching, huge believer in this guy, because he's got crazy hands.
He was a fantastic prospect last year, and still bringing that damage to the bottom lane, kind of eating more than he's delivering into this regard. Yuji will look for a play into the mid lane. Rift Herald's going down. Shockwave found, and Ryoma with another solo kill. Tommy is brutalizing this mid side.
Absolutely disgusting, right? Ryoma waiting for his next round of cooldowns before he throws out the Shockwave, knowing that Spyrex has no flash to get out of it. Just a very clean solo kill right before the second dragon. Philip?
Ooh. Ultimate's going to be used. Philip with the chase right now. Soul has a long way to go. There's the grand challenge. Unable to proc another vital. Can't chase underneath the tower. Soul will survive, but Philip puts on the pressure.
Pretty confident that was supposed to be a solo kill, and Philip was really holding on to the ultimate as long as he could. But ultimately, Soul will get out of that one, and with the next dragon spawning, neither team is moving directly for it. Evil Genius is a little content to let this game go a bit longer, because they do have, again, another fantastic scaling composition. Orianna at level 16 does absolutely ridiculous damage with that Shockwave, and suddenly you have this major carry threat that's also a huge utility threat. So I don't know if Evil Geniuses really need to fight for this, but also just knowing who their players are, I feel like they're going to anyway.
Setting up for Dragon right now. Evil Genius is crowding around this area. It's at a time they caught Spyrax on a recall, so FlyQuest won't be able to do anything about this. This is going to be conceded over without much issue. Evil Geniuses will grab that. Josh, I want to go back to that point you were making. And Shaden did have that ban from before, came back, felt like he had something to prove, and I think his story has been a little bit more obvious, but what do you feel about Yuji's story?
I mean, Yuji, for anybody who is not familiar with this player, is the only professional player to come from Mongolia. And Yuji has been one of the players that, again, when we first saw them come onto the field, we were not particularly impressed. Like, yes, we could tell that they had hands, but they were so timid in some of their early games. And it was really tough for us to kind of evaluate how strong they were, because they weren't doing a whole lot. But eventually, when they were still playing with FlyQuest Academy at the time, they eventually gave him the Kiana, because we knew he was a crazy assassin player and really found their stride there. And ever since, became less timid, more cautious, and now has been one of the players that has been playing very far forward as they find Smoothie.
Oh, so much damage on the Smoothie. Ultimate's going to be popped, but Masu chases down the Yordle. Mobility still has a lot of damage to bring, autoing away. Every shot is pain for FlyQuest. Will force out the flash of Kitong.
Great play coming out from Kitong and Masu. They're going to be able to get away from that. And yes, it costs Kitong his summoner spells, but they get the kill over to Masu. This could be what they need to actually start really bullying the side lane. And it's also worth noting, Eric, it's 14 minutes. No turrets have fallen just quite yet.
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with these two teams. They start off really fast in like the first 3 or 4 minutes, and then things calm down for quite some time before we accelerate again.
And then one of the things that is most difficult to get players at basically every level to kind of learn is how to make plays in the late laning phase before the mid game has really started, right? How to make plays before all the turrets are down and everybody has ultimates. And I think that's one of the things that we've been seeing, right? Shade and Ryoma doing a good job moving around together in order to try and create some of these early advantages against Yuji. But, I mean, neither team has really set up a whole lot of plays on the side lane. And as I say that, they're trying to find mobility, but he's backing away.
Oh, no.
And they got him. They got him.
Oh, no. Mobility. How fast
Yuji,
can you run? Put those legs to work. The knockup found by Yuji. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mobility. You're not long for this world. Spyrax will be handed that kill, while EGC are handed the Rift Herald.
Yeah, there you go. Making sure that he does not get away. And so this is kind of going to be a little bit of that trade, right? The kill going over for the Rift Herald, that is gold neutral, but it's all about what happens afterwards as they stop Yuji's back. But Spyrax is going to be hitting this turret. So Evil Geniuses will come out ahead of this play, partly because they get the Rift Sword, and partly because they open up the middle of the map, allowing them to take so much more control, much more easily around upcoming objectives.
Yuji's canceled his back. He's looking at this mid lane. It's a hard one to pull off, though. You don't have Cyclone. You can't exactly engage. And Evil Geniuses are happy getting what they got. 2 turrets in the mid lane. They'll take the recall.
And very small thing, the fact that they exited up instead of back through the lane is a really important thing for teams to actually learn, is because when you move up, you already know where Philip is. They're not going for a flank there, and you don't necessarily know where Yuji is. So they create a situation where they're also in fog.
Ryoma flashing away from Masu. And that's the flash down for the Orianna. Pretty big thing there. I mean, the only movement speed you get is from distance. Other than that, you don't have much mobility on Orianna, so this is a prime target for Yuji.
Yeah. Oh, Philip, behind mobility. Look at all the friends.
You do get the fancy escape routes on the Zeri. Couple shots coming out. Looks like mobility doesn't want to escape. As you said, we brought more friends to the fight. Hitong and Philip are the only 2 for FlyQuest, so they will back out and go ahead and concede this tower. More gold over to EGC.
Yeah, slowly building up this lead. This looks a little bit more like the veteran roster that we were kind of expecting to see with Ryoma, even despite the fact that they are a very explosive player, just going from lane to lane in order to pick up all of these objectives. And now, Eric, the next fight's going to be around this upcoming dragon. It's going to be the 3rd dragon, the first mountain of the game. And Evil Geniuses, they should be feeling very strong right now, right? Ryoma already has level 12, so you got the rank 2 ultimate. You have mobility, who is not really behind at this position, and Shaden and Soul create such a strong front line for this backline to play around.
But things to keep in mind, right? If FlyQuest can get some early control onto this side of the map, Flash is down for Ryoma, and engage isn't that good for EGC. If Yuji can punish that, you can have a pretty good win for FlyQuest, but you got to be careful. Don't want to walk into Shaden, as Shaden already forcing control back to EGC of the river.
Yeah, and look at where Spyrex is. Looking for a bit of a flank. It is spotted out a little bit. They do know where he is, and so Evil Geniuses are going to be backing up, but Soul is not with them just quite yet. This is a potential 5v4 for a little while from FlyQuest.
FlyQuest posturing in a multitude of angles, looking to challenge for this dragon. Yuji spotted out, going after Ryoma. No, it's Yuji who's pulled in by the shockwave. Cyclone will not save you from the grasp of Ryoma. And like that, FlyQuest have lost their engage. They've lost their chance to contest this strike.
Great awareness coming out from Evil Geniuses. They have the ward behind them to actually spot out the jungler. They pick up the flanker, and suddenly, as you said, with no engagers, no way for FlyQuest to come back into the fight. And now they have pushing waves up in the top side. They can potentially look for this dive as Philip wards the wrong bush.
Ooh, oh, yep, Philip's going to spot this out now. Philip and Shaden meeting over by the Grom camp. I'll meet you there later, Josh, but Philip will bail out for the time.
Yeah, between the towers. And so this does mean that Soul has some alone time with this structure, will get the Demolish proc. And remember, we said that Philip on the split push is one of the better sideliners that we have in the league, and can potentially look to really put her onto Soul later on. But if you continuously prop up Soul, it's a lot harder for Philip to make that pressure known. And so they need to make sure that they are constantly playing the entire map, because FlyQuest, if they end up giving over another dragon, Philip rapidly becomes basically their only win condition.
And right now, Soul's holding this okay, has itemized quite a bit of armor to match with Philip, but this is a problem that Evil Geniuses are going to have to keep a very, very close eye on. That being said, still more gold going over to the pocket of FlyQuest, as they will be able to get that top lane tower. Isolated onto Spyrex, has completed his ROA. Should be able to work towards that second purchase sometime soon, and not too much pressure.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say ROA.
Really?
Yeah.
You've heard Roa, Rod of Ages.
Rod of Ages, ROA.
I felt weird saying it for a moment, because I felt like Homeowners Association or something.
Oh, it made me think of Rivals of Aether, but no. It's a different IP. So, Evil Geniuses, I mean, they're now taking control of the top side of the map, right? The play action has switched from one side to the other, and Evil Geniuses with a pretty secure lead. And we're mostly going to have to, again, look at Yuji to be one of these big engage forces for his team. They got caught out last time, and now he might get caught again.
Yeah. Let's walk away from there.
Yeah. The double split push on the bottom side. As soon as Spyrex shows, I expect Evil Geniuses to start the Baron.
They're in this direction right now. Spyrex is backing off, going towards the mid lane. FlyQuest will be 4 strong towards this quadrant of the jungle.
Yeah.
Realm Warp, Spyrex can get there in a hurry.
Yeah.
So it's not the biggest concern right now for FlyQuest, but getting danced around with.
Yeah, I mean, it's give me that TP, baby. Right? Like, give me that teleport. You're on the other side of the map. There's the first ultimate.
All right, Masu leading in. Here comes Spyrax. Wants to follow through. Able to get the root onto Shaden. Shaden getting chunked out by the shots coming through from Masu. Teleport, not timing the bubble. Kitong. Now here comes Soul, pulling right back in. Spyrax sent to his demise. Popped up into the air. It takes a while
Shockwave!
for EGC to take him down. But Ryoma Shockwave comes up. Huge. Double kill found by Mobility. Chases down on a Kitong. Finds the triple kill. And FlyQuest can do nothing. They won't even take a single dime back in this fight. That went right on over to EGC.
Absolutely crazy. And dude, Smokescreen is so broken. We'll look at it in a sec. But Evil Genius is now onto it. Yuji won the smite last time around, but Soul's screening him.
Soul checked the tri-bush. Yuji reads Soul perfectly, but now gonna get spotted out. Soul's gone over the wall. Yuji, can you make magic happen twice?
They're looking for him.
Over the wall comes Mobility. Yuji's hopping forward. 3k health still there. Mobility is running low. Can't stay there to try and block out. Shaden might hop over. Yuji's running low, and it will be secured. Yuji trying to dance, but you can't keep up with the tempo of EGC.
Crossing the T's and dotting the I's. Evil Geniuses, they lose a mid lane turret, but who cares? You got the Baron and you got it secured. FlyQuest trying to strike back on the other side, but now with all the fast recalls, Evil Geniuses are going to be here to defend another structure. I mean, great stuff, but we don't get to see the smoke screen, but forcing Spyrex to flash forward to get that root was absolutely ridiculous. Making sure that he has to come a little bit far forward allows Soul to get the angle and bring Spyrex right back to the other fight, but also the double flank on the other side. Ryoma is getting counter-flanked by Philip, but he gets here first, and the Shockwave and all his squishy members make sure that they stay in range for Mobility to flash forward and pick them all up. Great stuff. Evil Geniuses maintaining their calm and getting everything that they came for.
Yeah, this is that semi-pro god in Ryoma. Beautiful flank coming through. Sets up a team fight finish for EGC. Now, this
That's
is
a 100 ping moment there.
This is the amazing plays that we've seen from this player ever since the days on 100 Thieves Academy and Golden Guardians Academy. Always being in the top picture for a lot of mid laners in contention for being the best in semi-pro. You can put your faith into Ryoma.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how all of Ryoma's teams seem to do well at Proving Grounds. Just saying. But Ryoma caught a little bit as Evil Genius is setting up for the Mountain Soul. This should be unrecoverable if Evil Genius has actually picked this up. Yuji's won some smites, but he is cut out from the team. Look for the flank.
Oh, Yuji on the far side.
He's in.
Has to travel some distance, able to get the Cyclone, gets the knockup on Ryoma as well as Smoothie, will still chase through, double knockup, gonna follow through.
Mobility!
Isn't enough to win out. Masu, gotta watch out, jumps over the wall. Mobility tearing them apart, a double kill found by Shaden, and Mobility will hunt down the bottom lane alongside Shaden. You know, it was Shaden's rookie year last year, shows up this year with a game to play and a message to send to the rest of the league. The ace found by EGC.
2 double kills from Shaden in that last fight. 4 kills going over to the Star Jungler. And Mobility, as you called out, just free to hit the entire time. Mountain Soul, another Mountain Dragon, Evil Geniuses in firm control. That was supposed to be the dream scenario coming up from FlyQuest. Yuji finds the flank. Everybody else piling on top, but they weren't able to find the rest of the damage to actually pick anybody up. Yes, Ryoma gets caught a little bit and ends up having to flash, so they become a prime target. But if you still get your Shockwave off, that's kind of all you need to do. Watch how Yuji comes through, and FlyQuest, they get zoned off immediately by the way that Soul and Shaden play. They find their way into the backline. Mobility's under threat. Ryoma doesn't have anything left to do, but because they have so many flashers and Soul and Mobility are able to get out, they can re-establish new battle lines, and Mobility gets the free hit because the rest of FlyQuest can't keep up.
So much hype on Masu, but Mobility is a name you still gotta watch out for. 3-1-5 right now. Positions very well for Evil Geniuses. Challengers. Now Yuji's caught out, and this is just damnation for FlyQuest.
Yeah, FlyQuest, I mean, they are starting to falter. One of the things that we've said about this team historically is that they have good enough hands, but sometimes the plans don't always come together, and this feels like they have been a little bit desperate this game. Evil Geniuses, I feel like they've kind of been playing from a higher starting point due to having 2 veterans on the roster in Ryoma and Smoothie, so that they can make a lot of these early game plans, and then they have the hands to back it up. FlyQuest going to have to try and bounce back from this one as Evil Genius is looking to improve to 500.
Oh, bubble on Mobility, but Mobility still able to hop out. Is Wild Growth going to be used? Mobility spacing out and bringing in that damage teleport used by both Soul and Ryoma, and all the geniuses have shown up in the bottom lane.
And they're going to be backing off. Lots of damage taken, lots of mana expended. The only real way back in at this point, Eric, is a steal from Yuji on the Elder Dragon. Shaden goes in.
Shaden running forward, 3v1, echoes of last week. Shaden still forward, alongside Soul. Engage not really found right there. Enough to get Masu on the edge of the shockwave. Now Philip flanking in, wants to pick one. Soul will kill Philip right into the back edge. Can't even put up a fight. Still the trade found. Shaden will fall. Evil Geniuses 4 strong against the 3 defense of FlyQuest.
I just love that from Philip. Instantly getting the one threat off of Mobility. Mobility is able to maintain their summoner spells, and now they're going to be opening up the base. Man, Ryoma Shockwaves have been so clutch, this time finding Masu, now that they're going to be opening this up. Again, we were talking about it before, the only way back is a miracle still coming out from FlyQuest around the Elder Dragon. But Eric, that is 3 minutes away, and I don't know if this game's going to go that long.
Yeah, this is looking to be closed quite soon with how fast Evil Geniuses have been playing this and how trigger-happy Shaden has been.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if Masu's dash was up, but that's one of those spots where on lower ping, he might have been able to get out of that one. It just takes too long to see and respond to it. So, feel bad for Masu, who's been one of our most exciting young prospects, but Ryoma doesn't care about that. He's here to win the game, catches another person out. And again, Ryoma, one of the big highlights that we had of him in 2021, I think it was his massive 5-man shockwave. He's reprising that role on the Orianna yet again and has looked like he hasn't taken a day off.
Boom Mobility into the face of Masu, calling, instantly return, but Shaden wants to return it with the big old buckshot of this Graves, chasing away FlyQuest. Don't derail me right now. This is a good moment, man.
What's also a good moment for Evil Geniuses, they're going to be starting up this Baron, and remember, we're looking at multiple steals. Yuji got a couple clutch secures last game that were not enough. They got to send him over the wall, and this is 100%, you know, this is a suicide mission coming in from Yuji.
This is a full send right now. FlyQuest, do or die, make it happen. Soul.
Spyrax on the bottom side.
Round the back end, Spyrax is still pushing in. Evil Geniuses are starting to peel off now. 2k health remains. Yuji nowhere close. Can't get it, or can he?
He gets it!
He steals away the Baron! It's gonna cost him his life. Split push coming out of Spyrax, but a big steal found by Yuji.
Super, super clutch. They also get the bounty on the bottom side of the map. That means that FlyQuest do get to play for this upcoming Elder Dragon. But still, that's their one way back in. They need to win a fight around there because the scaling from Evil Geniuses is so difficult to actually match. Spyrax, I love the fact that they just trusted the jungler, right? You gotta put your faith in your teammates to say, yeah, you do that. I can't help a whole lot. I'm gonna go do something on the other side of the map.
And that's a lot of gold going over to Spyrax as well. Look at 4 items now done for Spyrax. You're getting some scaling going. You're getting some influx. That's a big lead over Ryoma if you do compare the two. 2k in the lead for Spyrax. So somewhere to play around. I mean, you stole away the Baron. Now you get to prolong this game a bit more for a little bit deeper in the later stages of Spyrax.
Yeah. We'll take another look at this, right? Because it looked like Evil Geniuses was doing a fantastic job zoning Yuji away, right? They send... I was a little bit surprised that they sent Mobility kind of by themselves over the wall in order to make this happen. But, I mean, you see everybody, basically. You have a good idea where they are. Philip can't jump in by himself, especially with how effectively Soul has been playing. But Yuji, Blast Cone, Flash, Dash, gets himself in and actually wins the 50-50. Fantastic stuff coming out from this guy.
Now Yuji clutches out the Baron still, but Josh, it's still Mountain Soul that FlyQuest are going against. It feels like it's a good
fight is
start,
hard.
but they're far away from where they need to be.
Oh, that's a good start.
Charging forward. Half health for mobility to lead into this Elder Dragon fight. Should be able to heal up a smidge of that as well.
Yeah. One of the things that FlyQuest are going to be drastically missing is the fact that UG's Flash is not going to be up for this fight, right? That is their main engage tool gone. It is so much harder to get that going, and it's a lot harder to get into the pit in the first place. Oh, Spyrex going for using the Realm Warp for this big flank opportunity.
UG's still over there.
Right, almost damage, man.
Yeah, it took a good chunk from that dissonance. 6k health remains. Spyrax on the other side of the wall. UG. You can't let UG set up these 50-50s, so EGC instead will focus their attention on Philip. But Philip will slide out. Philip will get out. FlyQuest, they still have the positioning they want.
Evil Geniuses don't actually want this Elder Dragon. They want the fight from FlyQuest. They have the Super Minions pushing the bottom lane, and nobody can deal with them right now. Do they know where UG is? They have to know he's over this wall.
They have to. 4k health still on this Elder. UG, can he get the steal of a sentry? Can he keep it going on? Oh, the reset on the Elder now.
Another one all the way back up to full HP. Philip has teleport, but now he has to deal with the Super Minions.
Yup.
But we're back to UG. It's all on UG.
UG's still there. UG's
and they go for the fight.
Still, but Shaden wants the fight. Tidal Wave onto 4. Evil Geniuses, they can't engage. Disengage successful from FlyQuest.
But what was used from Evil Geniuses, they still have basically all of their ultimates. The only thing they expended was the Ghost.
They pinged
Now
him.
they know where UG is.
They know exactly where UG is. UG needs to get out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Chase right
Not
through.
like that.
Soul has him. No. UG falls. And so does the Smites fight of FlyQuest.
The discipline from Evil Geniuses to wait for them to back away. They kill UG, and now the steal is so much harder. Evil Geniuses can burn this down now.
It's still do or die. FlyQuest, they feel the pressure. If they lose this, they're going to lose the game. So they got to bring the fight right now, and Philip will lead the charge. 2k health remains, but Evil Geniuses still looking to take it over to Masu. Mobility chasing down, wants to find the highlight. Rook in will punish out the collegiate marksman. Down goes the Elder, still going to get picked up by Shaden. Over to Evil Geniuses. Philip, Spyrex, Ketong now starting their retreat.
Oh, they're out.
It's a tricky one to do. They'll get it with the Realm Warp, though, and be able to get it, but still so much picked up by the Geniuses.
Okay, Evil Geniuses, they still pick up the Elder Dragon, but they still have to wait a lot. They have to full reset. They have to wait for Soul to be back on the map. That is a ton of time that they are missing out on with effective Elder Dragon usage. FlyQuest, I mean, they're not out of the woods yet, but now that both of the game-ending objectives are off the map for a little while, they can look to play a much more defense, and we already saw it with one Baron. Evil Geniuses, they got the Elder Dragon. If it's just going to be back and forth, you just trade using one game-ending objective to get the other game-ending objective, eventually Spyrex does enough damage to start one-shotting the backline.
This game is getting pretty intense, 33 minutes into it. With that Elder Dragon taking the next big objective, you were mentioning Baron, 50 seconds before that spawn, so Evil Geniuses very early into that side of the map. Yeah, as you said, Josh, it's not about objectives for Evil Geniuses. They want to bait FlyQuest into these fights.
Yeah, and they have about a minute left of the Elder Dragon. They're already posturing. They should be getting this top lane turret. And the big question will be, can they either get a fight or two inhibitors off of this?
There's Shaden chasing away FlyQuest from this top side inner. Defensive lines for FlyQuest. They have 4 members over on this top side. Philip going to go for a split.
Yeah, remember, Soul was dead, does not actually have the Elder Dragon. So that's going to be the first turret going down. They're looking for 2 inhibitors, at the very least.
On the flank right now is UG. Would love to get that big teamfight play. The thing is, he needs the rest
Baron
of FlyQuest there. And yeah, Baron now on the table. FlyQuest, they're playing very, very carefully. You can tell they're very much evaluating a lot of the scenarios they're stuck in, but now here comes the do or die moment. Baron started up by EGC.
Okay, that's a lot of damage onto UG. Soul going to be playing bodyguard right now. 10 seconds left of the Elder Dragon. Ryoma might be catchable.
gone. UG still gonna try for it though. No, secured over to EGC.
Rama's
UG
dead.
empty-handed. Ryoma goes down. It's gonna be a trade. 1-for-1. Smoothie goes golden. Philip looking to chase around the Yordle. Will not be able to close out. Mobility and Shaden, dual marksmen working together. They'll be able to spend a little bit of time in a bubble as Mobility gets caught out by Keetong. No more chase to be found by EGC. And all that being said, it's still going to be Baron over to Evil Geniuses. 1-for-1 trade in the grand scheme. Ryoma for UG.
Back and forth. Shaden looking for anybody that they can. Already on 3 items. Oh, they're backing so close to each other. They have no idea. That's so funny. But FlyQuest, I mean, the later this game goes, the more damage that they do, the smaller the margins become to actually taking these fights. So FlyQuest are battling back. There's a reason why they have one of the longest average game times in the entire league, behind, like, I think AoE, right? Like, and AoE versus FlyQuest was the one that went like 55 minutes.
They're slowly battling back. I mean, eventually this gold lead is going to mean nothing. 1 item away from full build is Spyrax. And Evil Geniuses, they fill this. Setting up in the bottom lane. That Mobility pushing in this wave. Super Minions will be leading the charge over towards this top side. So Tool's still working out for Evil Geniuses. It's in FlyQuest's court to find a response.
Yeah. The problem is because UG has been spending... Oh!
Shaden. Okay.
Yeah.
Just takes it on the chin. Not to worry right there. Bring your best shot. See what you got.
But we have to remember, look at the level difference. Look at the farm difference in the jungle, right? UG has spent so much time dancing around these objectives that they are so poor.
Shaden fearless in the face of Spyrax. But that is triple inhibs, and EGC looking to close out. One more team fight for FlyQuest. Philip pushes forward. Tidal Wave rings through the middle of Evil Geniuses. Spyrax caught out. Will use the Hourglass. Philip back onto the respawn. Out comes the Cyclone. The rest of FlyQuest are now on the respawn. Sent the hard way is going to be Spyrax and Keetong. And just like that, a rough week number 3 on the debut of Ryoma. But in week 4, they start off exactly the way they want to. They'll get a 2-0 victory against FlyQuest Challengers.
And there we go. Absolutely none of us said that they were going to be getting the 2-0 today, but Evil Geniuses Challengers back to 500. 8-8 so far on the split, and really starting to make an argument for them to actually start climbing up the tiers once again. Remember, they're not even at their full form. They're still waiting for King, who might not be here until playoffs, but even with this young rookie Mobility, they're doing a great job.
Mobility's performing out of his mind to match, what we had with Masu, as well as Ryoma and Shaden now getting more of that identity through. Got to absolutely love it for Evil Geniuses. It bodes well for the future as they get ready for playoffs, but we're going to take a moment to throw it over a short break while we get ready for an interview with one of the members of Evil Geniuses Challengers.
All right, you wind it up real tight now and you let it loose.
Okay.
Oh, hi there. I didn't see you. Welcome to another episode of Bros on the Range. I'm trying to teach my greenhorn Rafa here how to wrangle some critters.
Hey, y'all.
Let's go ahead and see if he can do it now, all right? Let's see. Give him the hat.
Yeah.
All right, now, we got Rose Thorn on the big pig, Rafa. I'm going to teach you a little bit of pig call, all right? So,
Like this? So,
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 what's it? It looks like Insanity's gotten out of his pen. Rafa, quick! Go get your lasso!
I gotcha!
Let's go. He's gonna get it. Hold on now, Rafa! Hold on! I know you can do it! Take my hat! Take my hat! You can do it, Rafa! I believe in you! You can go! Hold on! Wait, no! Oh my God! All right, Rafa. We're gonna take a little break now. Just make sure Moose Hater doesn't get Garen while I'm gone.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll make sure he don't get it. Yeah, he's not getting it. Ain't gonna get that Garen, no sir.
All right, I got some coffee. Rafa, God dang it!
Mazel, I'm sorry. you told me to do, and I just feel like I can't do it right. Like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Man, I will tell you, you just gotta give it some time, alright? You see those two down there, APA and Bradley?
Yeah?
It didn't all start off nice and peachy. They weren't two bros in a pod. It took time, alright? It took time. And one day, we're gonna be just as bros as them.
Yeah. You know, Mazelle, they really do sing.
They do, my young one. Oh, look at that.
Oh, look at it go. Okay. I didn't think you could do that. Hey. Damn. Look at it go. Whoa. You gotta be careful about that one. Oh, this one's a fire.
Hey, see, we're gonna be just like them.
Yeah,
just like them.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Thanks for being my bro on the range this week, Rafa. It's nice to have some company every once in a while.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm sorry that kind of messed up your pen a little bit, but, you know, appreciate your patience. And I appreciate you roasting my wiener, too.
You gotta stay proteinized, that's what I like to say on the range.
Yeah.
Oh, they're still here. Well, that's a little awkward. Well, thank you all for coming in on the range for another week. We'll see you next week. Make sure you come back now.
Welcome back to the LCS Challengers League. We are joined today by the victorious Ryoma here from Evil Genius Challengers. First off, Ryoma, welcome to the United States again. I'm glad you had a visa to hell. Could you talk us through a little bit about what happened and like took so long to actually come over here?
I think it just delayed the process because I was in Korea for like a month. I was just spending some time there with FBI and we were playing a lot of games. And when I went back, it was kind of like, it was just kind of awkward, like just the timing situation to get the visa appointment. But ended up working out. Got here at least not too late.
Yeah, well, we still get to see you a little bit. And we gotta admit it, your start coming back to the LCS Challengers League was a little bit rocky. You did have, you know, you had a game where you had 9 kills going up against Cincinnati Fear. But after that, going up against Dignitas was a little rougher.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just, honestly, I just think we're just taking some time. Like, I would just say, you know, when I came into the team, it definitely felt a bit different. And, you know, we're just working on our systems, and I'd say things are going great. I think everyone is doing a good job playing their part now. Yeah. And when it just comes to improvement, you know, yeah, we're looking forward.
How much time did you have before your first week of games?
I think it was like a couple of days, like
a couple days,
4 days.
Yeah, you had a little bit of time coming through. Well, one of the things that we have been led to believe is that this team was largely built around Shaden, and he specifically requested that he wanted to play with Tommy Ryoma Lee. How has it been like working with this new jungler?
I mean, I think he's pretty good. I mean, I enjoyed playing with him, played with him like a lot in solo queue and stuff. So I kind of knew what I was expecting. I also think, at least for me, I like helping these type of players, like just the way he plays. I like that like kind of playstyle. It works well with me, I'd say. Just reminds me a lot like Ken when I was on 100, and I really like playing with both junglers, and I think I can help him, you know, be the same.
I mean, very cool. On a kind of similar note, right, you said that you're really here to kind of help a lot of these players, but I know every player's dreams to get back to the LCS, and you've been a player who every single time you played on an academy team, you've done well improving grounds. What do you feel like you still have left to do in order to prove to management and coaches that you deserve that shot again?
I mean, for me, I feel like there's always room to improve. Just like, even if I'm playing well in academy, I feel like I'm still making a lot of errors that would be punished pretty hard on LCS. Like, whether it's like, just being greedy and stuff, but I guess for me, it's just like, you know, just gotta take some time and, you know, just think about like the decisions I'm making sometimes, and be a bit more consistent, you know. Yeah.
There you go. Well, hopefully we can see that. We saw a lot of flashes forward from you today, and it made some very exciting plays come out from you. But for everybody at home, we do want to give a little bit of insight into your name. For people who don't know, it's reference to the Prince of Tennis, which you have not watched. Still have not watched, but you are a big fan of a couple other animes. You're still watching One Piece, and so the question would be, if Tommy Lee were to come up with a new gamertag today, what would it be?
Damn. I don't even know. I mean, I honestly don't know.
You don't know? You've just been Ryoma for so long, it just feels like who you
I don't
are?
really think about it. I would just copy another, like, probably an anime character, honestly.
Luffy?
Nah, it's too much. That one's too much.
All right, well, we'll come back to that at a later time. Before we let you go, we'd like to open the floor to you and see if there are any shout-outs you'd like to give.
Yeah, shout out to pretty much everyone who's supported me so far. I know last time I took I guess it's kind of a break, I guess, but you know, now I'm back. I feel pretty refreshed, I guess, and I'm looking forward to pulling out a lot more wins this time around.
Well, thank you so much, Rayoma. It's been great having you back. Congratulations on the 2-0 today, and we're looking forward to your play throughout the rest of the week. For now, though, for the LCS Challengers League, we're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will be getting into AoE Gold versus TSM Challengers for our second series of the day.